Oscar Piastri labelled Wanker of the Week by former Haas boss Guenther Steiner. Those words hit like a grid penalty right in the middle of a world title fight. In Austin, where McLaren should have extended their 40-point lead over Max Verstappen, Piastri became the cause of chaos. The Turn 1 incident in the sprint race turned into a disaster. Lando Norris was knocked out, crucial points vanished, and Verstappen, the title hunter, grinned wide. Martin Brundle blamed Piastri for a bad decision that cost the team dearly. But Steiner's insult wasn't just criticism, it was a verbal grenade, raising one question: is Piastri, the championship leader, cracking under pressure? While McLaren insists on staying neutral between Piastri and Norris, whispers echo through the paddock. Could this be another civil war like Prost and Senna in 1989? Before we dive deeper, don't forget to subscribe for sharp F1 analysis and on-track updates, because this scandal isn't about trash talk. It's about team dynamics, fragile strategy, and Verstappen's growing shadow over the title chase. The collapse at Circuit of the Americas marked McLaren's lowest point this season. Oscar Piastri, who'd led the standings since his stunning victory in Jeddah, arrived in Austin with a 104-point cushion over Verstappen. But the weekend unravelled fast. In the sprint race, Piastri triggered a multi-car crash at Turn 1, an uphill 40-metre corner wide on entry but brutally tight at the apex, a first-lap minefield. Starting from P3, Piastri lunged aggressively down the inside to pass Norris and clipped Nico Hülkenberg's Haas. The chain reaction sent Norris spinning and both McLarens tumbling out of contention. Verstappen, starting from pole, escaped untouched. He swept both the sprint and main race, scoring the full 33 points. Piastri salvaged only 10, finishing 5th on Sunday. Sky Sports analyst and F1 legend Martin Brundle didn't hold back. "The Turn 1 crash was unfortunate," he wrote, "but I believe Piastri was the one most responsible." Brundle broke down the corner, wide on entry, tight at the apex, a magnet for contact when the pack bunches up. Piastri, he said, was too focused on his teammate, his main rival. He slowed, turned in sharply and left no margin for chaos. "A move that makes sense mid-race," Brundle added, but suicidal on lap 1. Piastri was fixated on his championship rival and the pack swallowed him up. The FIA stewards called it a racing incident. But to Brundle, it was a huge embarrassment for McLaren, a mistake that wrecked both cars and ruined Norris's chance to pressure Verstappen. Then came the quote that shook the paddock. Guenther Steiner, former Haas boss and Drive to Survive icon, called Piastri the Wanker of the Week. Speaking on the Red Flags podcast, Steiner gave his weekly Rockstar and Wanker award. "I think this weekend, Oscar deserves Wanker of the race. I know it's harsh," he said, adding that maybe it's the wake-up call Piastri needs. Steiner pointed out the contrast. Just 4 races ago, Piastri looked unstoppable. In Austin, he stumbled, 10 points out of a possible 33, while Verstappen swept it all. He also hinted at something deeper. When you're part of a team, you want that feeling of support when you're fighting for the championship. If you don't feel it, you start to question whether the team's behind you, and that obviously shakes your confidence. That comment struck a nerve. Should McLaren start backing one driver for the title? McLaren team principal Andrea Stella was firm in his response. "Choosing between drivers," he said, "will only be decided by mathematics." He recalled history. In 2007, Kimi Räikkönen won the title from 3rd in the standings. In 2010, Sebastian Vettel snatched it from his own teammate at Red Bull. "We won't close the door," Stella continued, "unless the math does." Right now, Piastri leads Norris by 14 points and Verstappen by 40, with 141 still available across 5 races and 2 sprints. McLaren has no major upgrades planned, only refinement of the MCL 39. Red Bull, however, has found form again, with a new floor in Monza and a front-wing update in Singapore. Helmut Marko grinned. "We still have something up our sleeve." Austin's fallout hit Mercedes too. Technical director James Allison blamed Piastri for George Russell's tough race. Russell finished 6th, stuck behind Piastri for 56 laps. "We were trapped behind Piastri, who was having a difficult weekend," Allison said. "We had to follow his rhythm." In clean air during the sprint, Russell could chase Verstappen, but on Sunday, turbulence from Piastri's car overheated his tyres. "Competitiveness depends on who you're following," Allison explained, "not just the speed of your own car." Minor setup tweaks between sprint and qualifying didn't help. A poor start and traffic killed Mercedes' pace. Observers around the paddock have started to notice shifts inside McLaren. Michael Schmidt from Automotor and Sport wrote that the team's old freedom is gone. Back when they had a 2/10 advantage, they could still podium on bad weekends. Now every slip costs dearly. Pressure is rising. Mistakes like Piastri's P6 in qualifying, without progress, hurt twice as much. Verstappen is suddenly the favourite again, despite trailing. Red Bull's Laurent Mekies noted, "We're at a point where 3 or 4 teams can win if they maximise the car on the right track." Still, Piastri stays defiant. He even claimed he has proof Verstappen won't win the title, though refused to elaborate. A glimpse of confidence amid growing tension. McLaren's past looms large. In 1989, Prost and Senna clashed inside the same team. Their collision at Suzuka decided the championship after Senna was disqualified for cutting the chicane. FISA, now the FIA, was accused of bias. Years later, President Jean-Marie Balestre admitted he'd favoured Prost. Ron Dennis, McLaren's boss at the time, called it a very wrong decision. And now, in 2025, the echoes of internal pressure feel familiar. Only this time, Verstappen waits outside the gates, ready to exploit every fracture. McLaren remains optimistic. Stella sees the final 5 races as a chance to widen the gap to Max. Mexico City sits 2,285 metres above sea level, low downforce, Monza-like. Historically, it's Verstappen's territory, 5 wins in 6 years. Yet McLaren believes the MCL 39 will shine in Mexico, Sao Paulo, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi. Piastri will face the media in Thursday's press conference, alongside Yuki Tsunoda and Liam Lawson. His chance to answer, or to prove. This scandal proves Formula One 2025 isn't just a battle of speed. It's a test of psychology, communication, and surgical precision. At 24, Piastri faces his biggest trial yet. Will Steiner's insult ignite his comeback, or deepen the cracks? McLaren still controls its own destiny. But with Verstappen sharpening his form and Red Bull gaining momentum, one question lingers. Can McLaren really stay neutral to the end, or will the math force them to pick a side before it's too late?